Uh, Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Conversations That Matter Most. I am Sharona, the Midlife Women Dancing with Change Specialist. And of course, I'm here with my wonderful business partner and faithful sidekick. Well, I'm her faithful. We're each other's faithful sidekick, Claudette. Say hello, Claudette.
Hi everyone, Claudette Chenevert here. We have fun here, right, Joanna?
We do. And you know what? Just to get us in the mood, I always we share something either silly or funny. I'm not going to go into details now because it's just too silly and funny. But anyway, we're glad you're here. For those this is your first time, welcome aboard the wonderful starship conversations that matter most. For those faithful viewers, hi again, glad you're here. And just to let you know what this is about, we started this, I guess, a few months ago, or maybe even longer.
Almost 6 months, I would say.
Oh, okay, good. See, I'm in a time warp. I don't know, so that's okay. Yeah, almost 6 months of doing these weekly episodes about conversations that we want to share with you, but also help you and maybe trigger a conversation in your own life with people in your family, friends, co-workers, wherever you are in your life. And sometimes it's just hard to start a conversation. So we are using these as little tidbits of how to start. And we always like to hear from you, what you're, how are you using these conversations in your life and how you're sharing this information with the people that are in your life. It's not about if you agree or disagree or, well, that was really silly. Send. No, it's not about that. But we do like to know, how is this helping you in your life? Being a midlife woman or a stepmom, or so anyway, that's a little bit about why we're doing this and why we find it inspiring, not just to us but to those our faithful and new viewers. So today's app, and Claudette, did you want to add anything to that?
No, I love what you said. There's nothing more I want to add. I just know that I know a few people who listen to them and share them and have found it very helpful and useful to start those conversations. At least have a topic of conversation to bounce ideas off. So yes.
Yes, yeah, and I was going to say something, but it left the
It,
airport.
it went that way. It's
It
done
might
there.
it might do a turn around and come back. If it is, I'll pop in. But
We'll catch it on the way.
boomerang it around. Anyway, um, so today we're going to talk about the tug of war in change. That push and pull when you're in the middle of a change, either a big life change or a small little change, transformation, a transition, whatever that is, that push and pull. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And, as working with midlife women, I find that that whole period is about change, and we're trying to figure and they're trying to figure out what is important and what needs to be let go of and what matters. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And here's the thing: change is a normative process. It happens every day. We're constantly making small shifts and change in our plans and our thinking and what every day. Matter of fact, some of us, like me, I had to make 3 different changes before I came here to say, yeah, this is what I'm wearing today. I don't know why. It just didn't feel right what I was putting on. And I'm one of those people that like to dress for how it feels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right? So,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, and you know what you shared is that change is constant, change is everywhere. And I think when we accept that change is part of our life, we can look at change in a way that could be beneficial as well as life changing, right?
Right.
And that, if we didn't change, I would be a bit scared of where we would be today if we didn't change.
Yeah, and if you really think about it, if if life changes every day, if we did not, I think I agree. I agree. If there was not change, we would not be here.
Yeah.
And let's just be real. It's part of change is part of life. What?
We'd still be with a cave. We'd still be living in a cave. Now,
No,
I
no,
personally don't want to be living in a cave. Right? No way.
I need a bed.
Yeah. I love my laptop. So we wouldn't be talking this way if we still didn't change, right?
No, no. Oh, I'm just thinking of what Wi-Fi would be like in a cave, and I'm not.
It would be bouncing all over the place.
That's right. So there's something about that. So without change, we'd become stagnant and and be the same. And yet we get nervous around change, especially if it's something that comes from the outside. But even in the inside, if there's something that's we're feeling, um, what's the word, restless
Yeah.
or lost, there's that. What's next? What's going on here? What do I need to change?
And when we have that feeling of restlessness, of anxiety, of this like antsy-pantsy type of feeling, you know, it's a sign that says to us, it's whether you want to call it your intuition, your gut, your inner guide, whatever you want to call it, that's saying, you know what? It's time to do something different because you're either too comfortable with where you are, which is a sign that being too comfortable is not necessarily a good thing. If you were talking about personally or within a relationship, if you're too comfortable in a relationship, as you said, your life becomes stagnant, a relationship becomes stagnant, and then that's where we tend to look elsewhere for excitement, entertainment, some pizzazz in our life. We are meant to have some pizzazz to explore outside of our little comfort zone. It doesn't mean it's always exciting and happy. It also brings in risks and danger, and requires that you be vulnerable to accept the changes and what else is coming on into your life.
Yeah, I agree. And, I think one of the things I want to talk about is I notice a lot in conversations with midlife women, and I'm not sure if maybe stepmoms go through this too, but there is a perceived thing of good or bad, negative or positive. And I want to kind of move away from that for a moment because I don't think change is bad or good or negative or positive. Change is just change. Is how we deal with change can be either beneficial to us or detrimental.
Yeah. And you're right. When we're talking about stepmoms, whenever there's change within, whether stepkids are living with them or not, you know, it's often perceived that, well, this isn't a good thing. This is a bad thing. This is making my life difficult. This is making my life hard. Instead of, and I like what you say about being, there's aspects of it that can actually be beneficial to you, even though we can't see it right now. Can be very beneficial. I know that when we went through some changes with with my husband's daughters coming to live with us full time, at first I thought, well, okay, this will be great. We're all together. And then it didn't go so great because there were challenges. We needed to readapt to what was going on. And I think that's key, right? In any kind of change, is learning to readapt to what we call a new normal, or at least to refamiliarize ourselves with what's going on with ourselves.
Yeah, and I like, you know, I like that readapt, because it's because it's not going to ever be the same again. And you know, years ago I learned this thing about when we're in the middle of change. I'm just going to share this. If you imagine, there's four quadrants. So in one quadrant is the change is going to happen. It, whatever that is, and you're gonna be with the change, and then you come out, and then it might be a little scary, but there might be some excitement, so you go over here and you're so excited about that new lovely change. You know, let's say for instance you decided to let me see, become healthier, you know, like for, you know, that we're trying to regain some upper body strength as a midlife woman, so we're going to lift some small weights. Okay, so we're scared. We never, you know, we're going to add some more weight. We come over here. We're excited. We're so excited, and we're going. And about a few weeks later, we get down to the bottom quadrant, and we're finding this is really, really, really hard. I don't want to do this, and so I let that go, and then I come over here and I start. What we need, and then all of a sudden we're in this stagnant place. Months go by, we don't deal with it, and then, oh, we got to start again, and then we come back here, and so there's this, we keep going around this circle of yes, excited, yes, excited. Right. And so that's the push me, pull me. There's a place when we're in the middle of change, whatever the change is. You know, for instance, let's say some midlife women, they something happens in their work or their job, and they get scared, they get nervous, and then they get excited. I'm going on a new adventure. I'm going to look for work, and then somewhere in there, all of a sudden, they hit that wall. It's when we hit that wall is where we need to have tools to help us keep going forward.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I see that, using your same analogy, I see that a lot with stepmoms, right? They meet someone, they're really excited, they see only opportunities, and everything is beautiful, everything is pink, like my shirt, you know. And then all of a sudden they hit some roadblocks, there's obstacles. The kids are not cooperating, they're dealing with a hostile ex-wife, they're discovering like, oh, my husband isn't as supportive as I thought he'd be. And so the change is really difficult. And then they forget to look for help, support, and then they stay stuck in the aspect of this is too hard. I can't deal with it. And then they either leave the relationship or stay in that funk, or they get to a point where they're so um you know, the agony, well, I don't want to say agony, the pain of the not changing or staying stuck in the uncomfortable pushes them back to wanting to do something different. So I love your visual of push me pull you, where you're being pushed into doing something, and all of a sudden you realize like, I can't do this is too hard, and then you feel the pull to go back again. So, you know, all these quadrants. Uh, and I think when we realize that these are normal cycles of our lives, whether it's being in a step family, a stepmom, or being a midlife woman, then you can understand that this is a phase, a short period, and and then ask yourself, what can I do to shorten, right, that period of, you know, I don't want to be doing stuff, anything to change. I just like, I'm in this funk, I'm not excited. So what can we do to really help us move through these cycles with a little bit more ease and comfort? Well, maybe not comfort, because the uncomfort part is important as well. But at least to move us through the cycle without staying stuck in the funk period.
Yeah, and I think that's I think a couple things that I know when I go through change and when I work with the midlife women that I work with, one of the things I value is, first of all, a support network. I I don't know why we do this to ourselves, but for some reason when we're going through life, we think we have to do this all by ourselves, and we're not meant to be alone on this journey. Yes, you have your family or your step family, but and we need a support system outside our family that just appreciate us and support us for who we are without all that other baggage, right? All that. So I like to call them moxie and wisdom circles, but create something. So a support system. And the other thing too is honor what I suggest is to honor what you're feeling in the moment. Whatever you're feeling, if it's excitement, funk, mad, glad, sad, fear, acknowledge it, honor it, give it space, let it flow, let it go, and then, and keep working through it. What other tips or tools or suggestions that you have to help people move through that transition period?
So yes, I agree with what you said in that, having a as we call it, wisdom circles to help us to move through. Because one of the things that I know is, although we may have family and friends to help us, they may not understand what we're going through unless they've been there, right?
Right.
So if you're talking to your partner, your spouse, about being a midlife woman, chances are he won't understand what you're going through.
Mm.
And he's going to say, well, just get over it. If you're and if you're a stepmom and you're talking with your husband or your partner and telling him, like, your kids are really driving me insane, he's going to think you don't love his kids and he'll blame you. So these are some of the things that happens when there's change going on and you're feeling isolated and not able to, first of all, acknowledge what you're going through. Second, to feel validated through what you're going through. Because in change, we sometimes feel we're all alone. There's a sense of not feeling as if other people can understand us, and sometimes that's true. But chances are you're not the only person going through these changes. So becoming aware of what those changes are and feeling normal helps you go through the process of that change a little faster. So part of what I like to share, for not only for myself but with the stepmoms I work with, and you probably do this with your midlife women as well, Sharona, is that start with becoming aware of what the problem is. And is it a real problem? So it could just be like acknowledging there's change. What is it doing to you? What internally is happening inside of you that you are maybe excited about, because it could be excitement, that you might be fearful. And so if you're fearful, it could just be fearful of the unknown. And this is when it's a good idea to reach out within the wisdom circle, how you can actually find other people who have gone through this and help you through the process to go faster. One thing I know for sure, and correct me if I'm wrong, Shona, is that if you're going through change all on your own, you're going to stay stuck, and it's going to take a lot longer to go through that process than if you're with other people who understand what you're going through.
I think what happens, and this is just as I look out into the population of midlife women, um, is that we sometimes there's this what's this belief um, that as women we got to do it all and we got to do it strongly
And
and
perfectly.
perfectly. Thank you. That's the word I was. Perfectly. Okay. So there's a myth conception about perfection, which is a hallucination because there is no such thing as the perfect transition. There is no such thing as the perfect transformation. There is no such thing as the perfect change. Every life is again this push me, pull me, this up and down, the scale of that we go back and forth. We keep talking about balance. Well, in change, sometimes that balance is off because we're in the unknown. We're letting go of what was. We're walking into this, what I call the fertile void. I have no idea what's here, but I'm going to walk into it, and it's a little scary. And so we need wing people. We need our faithful sidekicks. Because if you look at any journey about heroes they're all not alone. They got a whole entourage coming with them on their quest. So yes.
And I just want to add, because you said something that I thought about you and I, both of us, right? Where we're doing these videos, sharing with people. Well, at first it was really scary, right?
Oh yeah.
Because it was something we didn't know, it was unknown for us. But because we did it together, we're each other's sidekick. We're helping one another to move through, and it feels a lot more comfortable. And this is the same with anything that is different in your life, whether it's a new job, a new relationship, a change in your status, whether kids are coming to live with you, kids are leaving your home, you're moving in a different area, your body's changing and you're wondering what is going on with me. So whenever there's change, in order for it to go more smoothly and to embrace the change, it helps when you have other people around you, surrounded with you, so you can have those conversations that'll help you to understand what those changes are all about.
Yeah, and I think part of it too is we need to remember that this is a place of vulnerability. And in vulnerability, we also feel sometimes that it means we're weak. So we overcompensate for that. And asking for help and asking for support is a sign of inner strength because you come to understand that I need help. I can't do this alone. This isn't working for me. And then there's the push pull side of that is we feel ashamed if we're feeling or we're thinking things that we think we shouldn't be thinking of. Like if we have to go, let's say, as a midlife woman, I have to move now to a new area. And I have to let go of all that I know that's familiar to me. I have to learn new roads, how to get to things.
Restaurants, groceries,
stores,
hairdressers.
dentist. Yeah, I have to start feeling like it. So we might feel in that moment that this sucks. And we get into that place, well, this just sucks. I don't want to do this. And then we get embarrassed that we're thinking, oh, this sucks. So we kind of start isolating.
Yep.
Right? And now we have to go make new friends, which is also scarier because here we are now, midlife women, and we have this idea in our mind, this is how it should have been. I should not have to, my vision of my future was I'll be in the same house that we got. And no. So those are the walls I'm talking about. Those are the things that when we hit that and we go, okay, so what do I need to do? So again, talk to so you're going to start building support around your, you know, just
Yep.
asking, just asking people. And I know that's scary and I know it's vulnerable, but you know what happens when you ask people and you're going to get no's.
Yeah.
No's are part of life. And we take it personally as women. No, they said no, they don't like me. I didn't do it right. Here's the thing is you need to have a certain amount of no's to get the yes you want.
Yeah. Exactly. So tick off the no's and know that a yes is coming.
A yes is coming. And it's same thing in job interviews or go asking for work. You got to get a certain amount of no's before you get yes, we want to hire you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, kids know this really instinctively in that, they'll ask you for the same thing over and over and over until you do say yes.
Yes.
They know a yes is bound to come if you say no often enough. So think of it that way.
You know what?
Right?
I wanted to share just a quick story about the midlife woman who had to go through to find work. And she was not only looking for work, but she was changing her career. And I thought this was just brilliant. So she wanted to go into what she's always wanted to do. She wanted to work instead of working in an office, she wanted to work outside in a gardening center. She just thought that working with people to help get the plants they need to make their backyard pretty. At that time in her life, that's what so she kept going to this garden center near her, and just every Monday she would come in and she would ask for the manager and she would say, I'm just here to see if you need my help today. That's all she said. It took and she was looking for other work, but she just kept showing up. She just kept showing up. And in about 6 weeks or so, they said, well, if you really want to work here, you need to do so she started, and because she kept showing up, what happened was they got to know her. She even volunteered a couple times. Oh, here, let me do that. Help me, So she eventually, after about 6 weeks of looking, 6 months of looking, and it takes up time, she actually landed the job at the garden center, and not at the bottom. She actually, because they saw how she actually got it at a higher level. So she wasn't starting at the bottom. So I think that's another tip: is show up, ask for what you need, honor who you are. And just be willing to feel that vulnerability and know that this is a process.
It's not permanent.
And
right?
It's not permanent. Right.
I think one of the important key things is that when change happens, you may feel like you're in a storm, a chaotic storm, or feeling like everything is going all over the place and you have no stability. That it's a process. It's temporary. It'll go through its normal course. It can go a little faster if you're able to look at this change in a way to what can you learn from this? What can you get out of this? How can this make you grow and benefit as a human being, so that if ever it happens again, you can go through this process a little quicker, a little faster, a little bit wiser.
Yeah, I like that, a little bit wiser. And as midlife women, we've been on this planet for a certain amount of time, and we already been through a couple series of big changes. Mm-hmm. So we know how to do this. And I think one of the things is, again, trust the process. We know how to deal with change. Change has been part of us since we were a baby. So here we go. So before we wrap up, Claudette, is there anything you want to add as we close today's episode?
So I just want to say that for stepmoms, understand that change is part of being a stepmom, that throughout the process, whether you have young stepkids, teenage stepkids, or even adult stepkids, your process, your life as a stepmom will forever be changing. And if you're looking for support and help in dealing with the changes in your life as a stepmom, I'd be happy to help you. Go to my website, which is stepmomcoach.com. You can also search for me on various social media platform by using hashtag stepmomcoach, and you'll be able to find me that way. And again, if you just want to talk with me one-on-one, or you have a question, you can email me at claudette@stepmomcoach.com, or even ask your questions at the bottom of this video, and I'll be happy to answer them as well. So Sharona, what about you?
Yeah, thank you, Claudette. And here's what I'm going to say. If you're a midlife woman and you're in that place that you're feeling stagnant and you're feeling that, okay, I'm confused, I'm a little bit bewildered, give me you can contact me and we'll work on some of these strategies so that you can move through this change process a little bit, I like, wiser, and a little bit with grace. Just a little bit with grace. You can reach me at you can email me at Sharona at dancingwithchange2thrive.com. And that's also my website, www.dancingwithchange2thrive.com. You can also reach me on most social media with the hashtag of Midlife Women Dancing with Change. And I also, if you can email me, and I agree with you, Claudette. Ask your questions. Let's start a conversation in the chat boxes, and because the question you may ask might be on somebody else's mind. So by the courage to ask the question, you might be supporting somebody out there who's going through the exact same thing. So I want to thank you all today for showing up and viewing. And here's the thing, we have a whole
library.
I was thinking of a word that started with a P, and I can't remember it. A whole library of videos, everything from anger to procrastination, relationship, conflict, all plus today's episode. So view, take some notes, share with others in your life. And I want to thank you all for being here. Claudette, thank you for being here also, because I can't do this without you, my friend.
Oh, thank you, Sharon. I enjoy doing this. I think these are awesome conversations and I value them very much.
Me too. So everybody, enjoy the rest of the day, and we'll see you next time on Conversations That Matter Most. Bye for now.